Hello, you are listening to the General Conversation Podcast. This is episode 6, part 2. I'm Valerie.
This is Cord.
And we're here with our guest, Officer Dan. If you have not listened to part 1, be sure to tune in to part 1 of episode 6. Just go back and watch it. Also, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, share this podcast. We're on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Pocket Casts, just to name a few, or any of your favorite streaming platforms. We have merchandise on Teespring. We have mugs, stickers, t-shirts, and hoodies. Just click down or look below in the link, and you can find the links below. Cordero, start it off.
How you doing today, Officer Dan?
I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Are you ready for part 2 to kick off here?
Let's do it.
All right, so we got a lot of questions, so we think we should just jump right into it.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Are the police actively doing anything to help the community trust them more?
At the moment, a lot of departments are going to body-worn body cams, so therefore it's more of a transparent look at what goes on our daily routines and our daily calls. They're open records, so anybody can put a request in to view any body cam videos that have been recorded by the police. Furthermore, citizens can record us. So far as just being, us being documented on what we do day to day, that's being something done to be transparent with the public. We have a lot of departments have community-oriented policing units within their department that go out and deal with the public, in more in a hands-on fashion. They interact with the kids of the neighborhoods and make baseball training camps, basketball training camps. Sometimes they do boxing. Things of that nature, just to get police active in the community on a more friendly and personal level.
Okay, I think that's what we really want to hear right there. Valerie, you got anything to add to that?
No, but I have another question here. So for your section, when you're policing, what's the biggest epidemic that you've seen while policing?
Oh, right now, it's going to have to be the juveniles taking over, with the crimes right now. Between vehicle thefts, break-ins in vehicles, anything with vehicle-related crimes, it's going to be the juveniles killing us right now. Most of them know that the juvenile system is horribly broken, tragically. Right. So they know that they need a certain amount of points, or if they don't do anything of a violent nature that put anybody in real harm, they won't spend that much time. They won't spend that much time in, the court system of any kind. So it's just a revolving door, like, hey, don't do that again, 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 until they're 18 or 17 in this case.
And then you can
start charging as adults.
Right.
Okay.
So with that, you saying the juvenile is the biggest, I guess, epidemic you've seen where they're kind of spiking in criminal activity, and in particular you saying vehicle. Are there things that people can do, citizens can do relating to their vehicles, or like?
Of course, though. The number one thing that you could do is when you're pumping gas, go into a gas station, turn your car off. Okay. That's the biggest thing, first thing.
Like you're doing all that.
Yeah, stop donating your car to the neighborhood. Lock your car. Remove all valuables, your cell phone, tablet, iPad, iPod. At the very least, put it underneath the seat, out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
Just lock your cars, turn the car off. If you got one of those push-start cars, make sure you lock your car. Because if you're still standing close by the car, the key, can register the car. If you're close to the car, it'll still start up. If somebody hops in the driver's seat, pushes the button, they can just drive off. So it would be a help if, like I said, just lock the car. Lock the car, turn it off. That's the first and foremost thing you can do.
Why do you think, just your personal opinion, that the juvenile rate is so high as far as crime goes? Is it something that you think can be, and do you think there's something that can be done about that? Like, I know you said the police are trying to kind of get into the neighborhood and have activities where you guys are doing basketball or just whatever you can do to kind of implement you guys into the community. Mm-hmm. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I deal with it at work, and I just can't really figure out what they do. Like, I know the kids, the juveniles, they take the cars and they joyride around. Then they just drop it off somewhere. So I don't know what But I think if we can get the reason of behind why they're taking the cars in the first place, because most of the time all they do is just take the cars so they can flex on Instagram, social media, and then drop the car back off.
Right.
Or I don't know if it's like some kind of gang initiation, like some kind of street gang thing.
Sound like they're bored.
Yeah, that sounds like, especially if you leave the car where it is.
Yeah, you just joyriding and you dropping it off.
Okay, question about that. Is I know it's a crime to take a vehicle, of course, but is that considered like a lesser offense if you bring the car back, or no?
No.
So I'm just wondering if they're trying to. You know how sometimes people can be like, okay, I know that I can do just amount of stuff, just amount of crime where I can, let's say sport gang, I can get initiated in with doing that, or I can be on Instagram or whatever the cause is, but I can do just enough where it's like a misdemeanor, or it's like, well, you know what I mean?
He did say that they kind of know the ins and outs of the juvenile system now. He knows, like, they know, like, just enough to what they can get away with, you know, and still come home after the weekend or whatever. You know how many days they spend in jail, or if they spend any time in jail at all. So, all right. So this is a good one right here. What's the most difficult thing about being a police officer? What's the most rewarding thing?
The most difficult thing, I guess, honestly, I hate to say it like this, but just, the stigmatism that's been built with the last couple of years of trending news. So, I mean, I can't argue with it, but I would like to have people understand that there are such things as, officers who actually care about their job, care about, the citizens, and want to, do things to help the community out. But, I understand, some people have had bad experiences with police. I understand people have, negative outlook based off of the media, what they see in the media, what have you. But, I mean, everybody thinks as soon as I come on a call, I'm trying to be on 10 and, take somebody's going to jail. Really, a lot of times I'm going to call, listen, as long as ain't nobody visibly injured to the point I have to do something, I'm just going to get everybody's name, say I talked to them, maybe make a report if I have to, but just leave. Like, I'm not trying to come anywhere and arrest anybody unless I come on scene and, mom's bleeding from the face, dad's looking like he don't know what's going on, and the son's like, yeah, dad did it. My hands are tied at that point. But, as long as it's something like, hey, we have an verbal dispute, we'll handle it. As long as y'all when I ask you a question, you answer the question without getting, too much attitude behind it. I can keep myself on, either 1, 2, or 3 level to keep things cool. But if you come at me with that attitude, then I have to come, I have to amplify my situation. Like, okay, now you're kind of being combative to me. Are you trying to hide something? Or something got you defensive? And then once I figure, you're defensive for something that you've done, like you just got done knocking the heck out of mom. Right. Now I got to figure, okay, so that's why you're being combative with me right now. Okay, so as long as nothing like that's going on, we're de-escalating this, everything, we can stay de-escalated and be all good. The most rewarding part of my job, there's a lot of cases where, we do something good. We do something that really helps somebody. Because a lot of times, especially the areas that a lot of police officers work, they're not, financially level. Like, it's not a good community as far as, finances and, prosperity. So giving somebody a ticket all the time for, like, your brake lights out, your tail lights out, whatever the case may be, if they're already kind of down on their luck, just giving them a ticket is going to make it worse. So there's a lot of times I pull people over. I interrupt people who should have went to jail for, a lesser charge, pedestrian on the roadway or spitting on the sidewalk, something simple like that. That's pretty simple to me. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce, like, just possession, not trying to traffic it. There's a lot of times I cut a break. I have this, we have officer discretion, so I cut a break in those situations because it's like, taking you to jail is not going to help you. Like, you didn't do anything that would hurt or, degrade the quality of the, neighborhood you live in. You just had a small little hiccup. And, I'll give you a buy on that, save you some, financial hardship and save you some, personal hardship. So, we've had this conversation. I'll give you the pass. Hopefully next time I see you, you're not doing the same thing.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay, so just speaking on domestic violence a little bit, is it true that if the cops are called on a domestic violence situation that someone has to go to jail?
So should Boo Man just take off? That's what we want to know. That's what we want to know.
Again, it just
like if there's no like blood or nothing, like how some people can just be arguing really loud.
Yeah.
And then the cops are called. Maybe they didn't call them. Next thing you know, it's like, what do y'all got?
Because you get a lot of that. He hit me, and he might not have hit her, but it's.
I don't even mean in that. I just mean like how you. Okay, let's say you live. Well, it doesn't even matter if it's an apartment or house. there's some, because you could be outside arguing.
Right,
you know?
right.
What I'm saying is, if there's no, y'all are just arguing, you know, you getting passionate, you in the midst of argument, and then the cop is called. When he comes, do you guys have to take someone to jail?
It's a gray area. So here's the answer. This is the best
Explain
answer I can
some.
give you. Yeah, this is the best answer I can give you. So if I come on scene and it's just two people, you know, the supposed aggressor and the supposed non-aggressor, I interview both people. They're not saying anything came to a physical standpoint. Like, you know, nobody was hit, nobody was struck, nobody was, you know, flinched on, nothing like that. I could just be like, okay, well, you said that y'all was having a passionate argument. It got a little loud. You said it's got a little loud too. I don't see any visible injuries. Get y'all's names and, you know, put y'all in the system, you know, just type of a little small narrative to say I came out. They said that they was having a verbal dispute. I left.
Okay.
So I can, you know, that's always the very minimum. So at the very minimum, if it's a domestic dispute, like two parties live together or two parties have a child together,
Right.
then yeah, that's the minimum. You got to do a report.
Okay.
So the whole thing has to be documented, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
So it can just be an information only report or just something that we came out and this is what happened. Now we get there and yeah, this is like a visible injury.
Right.
Somebody has to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Run, boo man, run.
I get that.
All right, so okay, let's say that one party did get accused of physical violence. Does someone have to go, even if you don't see any visible injuries? You can just, you know.
That's another one of them gray areas where it's like I know how me and a lot of my coworkers would handle it, just because. Again, we don't want to, you know, jam people up for he said, she said.
Right.
If we don't want to, you know, make the wrong decision, or we don't want to be liable for making the wrong decision.
Right.
What a lot of times we do is, like I said, somebody said, "Oh yeah, he hit me in the face with his fist." All right, cool. Was it just y'all two in the house? Yeah. I mean, there's no visible injury, so you know, again, it's just he said, she said. There's no proof that it happened. He's saying it didn't happen. She's saying it did happen.
Right.
Best I've seen a lot of my coworkers do is separate the parties. Of course, a report still is going to have to be generated. Get a statement and, you know, pass it to supervisors. A lot of times supervisors will say, yeah, if she said that happened, you know, if he said that happened, you got to take somebody. But a lot of times, like I said, if it's not visible, it's nothing we can document like that, you know, to say that this person is clearly the aggressor. You know, because it's not always the man. It's not always everybody. That's a stigma. Everybody's like, oh, the man did it because he's the man. It's like, nah. I've seen a lot of guys getting, you know, verbally and sometimes physically beat up because, you know, they don't want to go down that road of, you know, putting hands on a woman or being aggressive towards a woman just because they already know what time it is. The cops come, the cops get involved. I'm going to jail. So they just, you know, lesser down themselves.
On
so
sight.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, me, from what I've seen, if there's no visible injury, I'll just take the report, pass it to supervisor, and then see what they want to do going from that.
Okay. Because I know I've seen a few instances where it's more so like the cop might not take them out of jail. He said, "Somebody, you got to leave."
Yeah.
Like, you got to leave.
Somebody's got who's leaving tonight.
Yeah, you got to leave. You can't
I'll
stay
give you a
here.
ride to the train station if I need to, but somebody's got to leave.
Yeah, somebody's got to leave.
Yeah, I can come back tomorrow and talk about it, but right now,
Yeah, you got to go.
who's taking this walk?
All right, so this question is maybe a little heavy, so I'm going to hit you with it.
Okay.
All right. How do you feel about the Black Lives Matter movement versus the Blue Lives Matter movement?
I'm not really for either one, honestly. The Blue Lives Matter or the Black Lives Matter, because I have personal bias a little bit on both of them. So if I can say it.
You're in the tough spot.
Yeah, if I can say it, the Black Lives Matter movement, I got it, I get it. I understand what it means and what they're moving for. But at the same time, I kind of feel a little hurt because it's like it only applies to black citizens. Like if it's like a black officer who got shot, there's no outrage, there's no media questions, nothing. It's just, oh, he was doing his job, he knew what he signed up for. It's like, okay, all right, cool. And then the Blue Lives Matter, like I said, I've seen a lot of social media cop pages and stuff like that, and they're a little too gung-ho sometimes to me. I'm just like, y'all sound a little crazy over here. So therefore, I just stay in the middle, just because I can't say Blue Lives Matter is more important than Black Lives Matter or vice versa. There's just, two parties that have their own personal agenda or personal beliefs, and that's fine. I don't frown on either one of them. Like, I don't look at Black Lives Matter like, oh, y'all are a bunch of, any kind of negative perfection towards them.
Hoodlums.
Exactly. And then, that's just how it is. If that's what y'all believe, that's what y'all believe. And I see them on the streets all the time. I wave at them, say a few words if they say something to me. But, yeah, I don't really have any negative thing towards them. Like, I had a citizen that I was really comfortable with, and he was part of that movement. And we had a working relationship at work, so he would talk to me, but he knew that me and a lot of my coworkers were on the good side of what he was trying to fight for. So it was like we kind of embraced each other on that aspect of things. But on the other side of things, he got a little radical sometimes, and I had to tell him, listen, just one man comes to another man. It's cool. I see what you're doing, but his initiative was kind of more of putting cameras in cops' face, like on the flash, because again, we can't stop you from recording us. But he would go about it and kind of be aggressive about it. So we had to, pull him to the side. Listen, I understand what you want to do, but if you can't I'm not saying scale it back because you're bringing stuff to the forefront. It's just that you're coming off. Like, how would you as a citizen, like if somebody just walked up to you, just jammed the camera in your face? So that's what I was coming to him as. So, just, if you want to film, you can film all day long. I don't care. But just, be respectful a little bit about it. Don't just jam the camera in my face and I'm trying to, get some Popeye or something like that,
I just want to say a little bit about the Black Lives Matter movement. I think the initial idea of it was so it could bring awareness to such injustice that was going on with black people, whether it was like a Sandra Bland, like all these people that were, getting treated poorly by cops. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's some people that, like, when you get into an idea in your head, you can go to the left, like, go radical with it, like, just like, religion and different things. You can believe one thing, but there's always somebody that goes like all the way to the left. Is like, no, that's not what they're trying to talk about. And I think like that guy who's like, okay, let me shove it in the camera in your face. Of course, I think he's doing too much. I feel like simply just saying, hey, I want to record you, or recording and not being and letting you still be able to do your job is really what should be done. But I think that when you said I just wanted to say this part, that when you said about someone saying something like, oh, he's a black officer, that's what he gets. I think that is another ignorant person, because I think it wasn't to say, okay, tit for tat. We're not trying to do a tit for tat, like, okay, one for us, one for you, one for Black Lives, one for a cop. That shouldn't be what it is. I don't think that's what that movement was about. I think that movement was about, hey, look at me, don't shoot, I am not a threat. I want to make it home. If you got to take me to jail so you figure out what's going on, my saying is I'm a person, don't shoot me, don't hurt me. I'm not trying to do anything. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was the biggest idea of it. And I think sometimes people turn into, well, all lives matter. Well, we wouldn't have to say Black Lives Matter if people were treating us like we were human.
Because you didn't treat it like all lives matter before.
Like, you not, if another race is walking out and he got his hands up, you're not just trying to shoot him, but you see a black guy and his hands up, he's a threat. It's just things like that. And I'm not saying that's how you feel about it, but I think that's how that movement kind of came about. And like I said, you're going to get some ignorant people, just like I think when people, of course, I don't sit there and think all cops are bad. I met some really cool cops, right? I'm thinking there's some that is just, just like with the Black Lives Matter, there's some that just, it's bad apple. And just kind of, you have people that will go to the left, or maybe they had experience. And experience, that's the thing. I think the experience can alter the way you move and what you believe, how you take it. Something can happen to you, and then you go the radical way with it instead of just kind of being like, no, I'm. This is what it's meant for. I know I want to use it for good instead of a negative way. And I think another thing about being a cop, being a black cop, is that the fact that you're still a cop, because you have a certain authority for you. If you're just a black man, you're just a black man. You don't have no authority to you as a civilian, right? But when you see a black officer, and you're an officer, the first thing we think, yeah, well, you're black, but we see you as an officer first, I think, as a citizen, because we're like, we don't know, not even a shooting thing, just like, are we going to get a ticket? I think if anybody has ever been in a situation, you in a car, whatever, you don't know what's going on, when you see a cop, I don't really care what color it is, you kind of get tense, like, well, what did I do? Did I not drive? Did I not signal? Did I not do this? You have a defense, and you guys have the authority. And so, of course, I'm definitely not saying that, hey, that's what you get. That's just asinine. You shouldn't think like that. I'm just saying that when you see a cop that has, first thing you think is authority figure. You have a lot. We, as civilians, a lot of times know that your word will go farther than us. So we don't know if you're a good person, regardless of your skin color. We don't know if you're a good person or you down for some shenanigans,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, just speaking from personal experience, I know for a fact that anytime I get to the lights behind me, I get pulled over. I'm like, oh, shit. Am I going to jail today? What I do? My tags right? My license legit? I pay my insurance? And it's like we got to go through this whole checklist of things where I think where other races or whatever, they don't really necessarily do that. It's like,
I wish he would.
He pulled me over. What?
Yeah.
So what I was doing 100.
Yeah, I was at 20 miles an hour.
Let me speak to your supervisor.
Right. What's your name?
Yeah, we all may get this thing where I'm saying we could, speaking from a black person's perspective, it's like, it's an instant sense of dread and just despair, and it's like, man, I know this can go bad. We looking like, do I reach for my license now, or do I wait for you to ask for it?
Right.
Do I reach for my insurance now? Do I go in the glove compartment because I know he's gonna ask for it? How do I navigate this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
is he gonna ask do I have weapons in the car? Because I had a pocket knife one time. I was like, oh shit, is that considered? Oh, is that considered a weapon?
Buddy.
You know what I'm saying? Is the fingernail file considered a weapon at this point? You know, you go through all these, you go through these things.
Yeah.
Like one of our friends, I'm not gonna say his name. You can figure out who it is, a group. It was me. It was three of us in the car. In his car, whatever. We got pulled over, and the cop asked if we had weapons in the car. Right. So that was the first question. First of all, not the lights of do we have weapons in the car. So of course we're like nah, because we're thinking like guns or something like that. But come to find out, he had like we're gonna say bladed items in the trunk. And so like we didn't even think about but that's just like things like that.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I don't think he just meant like anything immediately in the vehicle ready to be produced as a weapon. But I get the same feeling. Like even as a police officer, I still get this feeling like, oh crap, I just passed a cop on the side of the road. He has some radar gun. He's even for speeding, or they get behind me. I'm like, oh, you got to go and pull to the right a little bit. I still get that same paranoid / nervous feeling of just. What's about to happen? What did I just do? Did they come to get me? Did I do it? I still get that feeling too. But as far as the movements go, like I said, the Black Lives Matter movement, I'm for it in the aspect of what they're trying to demonstrate, what they're trying to show. That a black man and a black woman's life matters just as much as any other race. Right. As far as black people being taken as a threat off the rip versus any other race, I got all that. I see it all the time at my job, so I understand and I get it. But the Blue Lives Matter, that was just something they made in response to
that's
Black
what
Lives
I
Matter.
think that's what I said. Like, I'm not saying it shouldn't be a Blue Lives Matter. I'm just saying, like, I think people will say, well, let me just say this, because I feel like reason I say I don't think it should, because this is probably how they're feeling. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate about the Blue Lives. They're probably, like, I really don't know much about it. I just know it's like, cops, well, we stand for our lives, don't shoot us either. But my thing is this, is like I said, the Black Lives Matter wasn't so you can counter. Like, let me counter suit. Like, okay, you play this card, let's play this card. It wasn't for that. It was like, hey, just look at me. I think, like I said, it was just like a awareness. And to kind of notion off of that, I was going to say the media, I feel like, plays a part into how things are perceived as well. Because I just want to give a scenario. Like, my dad has been pulled over a plethora of times, especially when I was younger. And I've never been in the car with my father. It was never a worry. He would get mad, like he would get anxious, like, okay, if something wasn't, like, okay, let's say his insurance expired, right? So that's what, but it's never been this is something new to say, okay, let me put my hands on the wheel, let me make sure I don't have any weapons. It was never a thing like that. And so now I feel like if I was in the car with my father, maybe that would be something he would think about, even if he had everything together. Because, what we see on the media is like we're always seeing, they're showing us just like the bad stuff, and like I'm glad we should see stuff, but we should also because of what I wonder if you're always seeing as an officer, okay, like I said, playing devil advocate, as an officer, if I'm always seeing that I'm getting recorded, I can pull over somebody, and all I'm just trying to do is come to your car and say, hey, get your tail light fixed. I'm giving you a warning, but when I get to your car and you're on 10. You know why? Because you done seen all what's on the media. So you tense. Now I'm tense. Everybody's tense. And I'm just wondering if there's something, like, it was a lady, and I didn't really read too much into it, but I saw the video of this lady. She was speeding, saying she was trying to get to work, right? And I'm like, yeah, she deserved a ticket. But then a part of me in the back of my mind, I was like, did she keep driving because she was being chased by the cops? Now, It's not funny, but it's like a part of me is like, is she really saying? Is that just the dumb excuse she gave that I just really need to get to work? Nobody wants to get to work that bad. I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, you trying to get to work, or is it feeling like, let me get to somewhere where that thought popped in my head? I would never have thought that before. Like, what would I stop? I feel like I would, but like, if I got sirens and then the adrenaline, I'm like, are they gonna like? Am I going to be harmed if something don't go right? If I don't, like, of course I would stop, right? That's what I would think. But I feel like what we see in the media is like, you don't know what kind of officer you getting, no matter what color you are, and you don't know what their temperament is going to be. You could be having everything. Now it's like, I got to have my hands here. Now it's making you more nervous. So when he walking up to the car, the officer is walking to the car, you looking nervous. Now he like, what you nervous for? And it's like, I'm nervous because I don't know what you about to do. Like, I feel like everything is good, and you could have just told me I missed a turn. I don't know. Did you see? It's just a lot of stuff that I feel like the media plays a part in that too. Like, let's be honest.
Well, if we're talking about the media, just from personal experience, from what I've seen, it's like, how many news channels there are where you live. Well, where you work, as a police officer. So you kind of can know, when you pick up a crime scene, it's like, okay, I'm on the scene, secure the scene, do all this stuff, take everybody here. Then when it kind of slows down and calms down, you look around and you look and see what news crews are here. And it's like, okay, they're here. And you know there's a big one, like, where are they at? And then it's like, oh, they're not here. It's probably not important enough. Wow. Then you have another case. It's like, okay, now this one's real big. It's crazy. Everybody's here. Yeah. So then it's like, that's how I kind of judged. Okay, I see what's important, what's not important, what's newsworthy to them, what's not newsworthy to them. Because there's times where it's like, this channel's here, little, channel 7, channel 15, and channel 12 are here. But you're like, well, everybody knows channel 5, channel 4, channel 3. Where are they at? Right. Oh, it's not big enough for them. Okay, no problem. So, like on police involved traffic accidents, everybody's there. People shot. Depends on what time of day it is, or how crazy the scene is. Most of them show up. But then when it's like an officer involved shooting, of course every single one of them is there. But then when they find out there's a black cop, okay, we're gonna go home. It's like, wow, dang, I don't want to hear the rest. They'll get the story just to make the because everybody if Channel 7's running the story, Channel 5 and 6 maybe run the story too. So they'll all put together a package to run the news, but it's not as much detail as if it was, Black Lives Matter, worthy story. Yeah. So that's just the trigger right now. Everybody knows that. That's just the media trigger right now. We want something to push that media agenda. If it doesn't fall in that agenda, of course they're not going to push it. And I'm not trying to. Let me just go on record. That's my opinion of what I've seen at my job. Right. So I'm not saying for fact that's what it is. It's just from what I've seen, camera crews, they don't really work as hard. They're not out enforced that much on certain things because it doesn't make numbers like they want it to.
But do you think that the media, do you see how kind of like a person can be on edge with a situation like that when you don't really know what's going on, which can make a cop on edge, to be honest. An officer on edge is like, you on edge and I'm on edge, everybody's on edge, and I feel like, they don't promote enough positive. Like, I definitely think they should put stories out there to let people know what's going on, right? Like, when stuff is going wrong and putting them out there. But I also think that, like, when the officers get off and it's like blatant that they were wrong in the situation, it's like, what message are you sending to? Now that's not necessarily media, that's just the law. I'm like, what message are you sending, especially in that county or that district or whatever? What are you sending to the people? Like, oh, they don't matter, they get off, and it's just like it creates a distinction in between the two.
Yeah, one thing I did, well, two things actually I wanted to kind of squeeze in there. One, I want you to take us through from A to Z on what to do when somebody gets pulled over. When should they have their hands? When should they move? When should they blink? Do they hold their breath for 15 seconds? Like A to Z on that. And also, one thing I have noticed lately on YouTube and on like Facebook and things like, I see a lot of police officers, doing like little short videos of, just simple traffic things. Like, I saw one the other day. He was like, "Hey, this is a passing lane.
Yeah,
this is the sort of, like just things like that. You don't know, like little information like that really goes a long way." It was another one. He was like, "Hey, This is an arm wrap. You're supposed to speed up when you're getting on the highway, so nobody has to slam on brakes to let you merge in. And he's like, get it to a station. Things like that can go a long way.
Based off what you're saying, just for that, me personally, I just think people just need to get their licenses done over because they do a lot of stuff. It's just like you see emergency vehicles, the fire trucks, the ambulance, police department car driving down the road with license sirens on, and everybody just slams on their brakes and stops in the middle of the road. I'm like, they didn't teach you how to move to the right.
Yeah, you're supposed to get over.
I was gonna stop right here and hope it doesn't hit me. It's like.
Right.
You got this 20-ton fire truck.
But yeah, just for the traffic stop aspect of what you were saying.
Yeah, A to Z. When you pull somebody over, what should they do to ensure not only their safety, your safety as well, to make sure like, hey, this is not a bad situation.
There's a lot of times where, first and foremost, the traffic stop is the most stressful and probably one of the most unknown things we'll deal with throughout the day because we don't know who's in that car when we pull them over. So what I would say, best thing to do, just keep your hands in the steering wheel, keep it, somewhere visible, open. You don't have to do the hands out of the door that a lot of people do. I mean, you can if that's what you choose to do. You don't have to. I don't like people to feel, me personally, I don't want you to feel like you have to be completely submissive in that situation. You still have a voice, you're still a citizen. As everybody likes to say, you're a tax, always pay my salary. So, I don't want you to feel, submissive and powerless, like you can't do nothing on a traffic stop. Like a lot of times, just turn your radio down. You don't have to turn it off, just turn it down so you can hear me and I can hear you. If you got other people in the car, just let them know, hey man, we're just getting pulled over. Just keep your hands visible. Don't be reaching in your pockets and squirreling around too much because that's going to send off a red flag for the officer. Like, why is he moving so much? We're on a traffic stop. Like, so just keep your hands visible. Try to stay polite as possible unless the officer is giving you some attitude still. Stay polite as possible. Make sure you get his name and badge number, so his or her badge number, so you can take it to their Office of Codes and Standards at a later time to make a complaint if you feel the need to. Just comply at this point. Just comply. Like, hey, he's asking for your license, give it to him. If he's asking for your insurance or registration, have it provided for you if you can. A lot of people don't know. Like, if I stop you on a traffic stop and ask for your insurance, even if it's just a traffic stop, it's not an accident, but still it's a traffic stop. Actually, for your license and insurance, you still have to provide it. There's a code violation for proof of insurance, a little insurance card. You can have it on your phone. A lot of people like to have the app. Now, if you're reaching for your phone, let them know, hey, phone's in the center console, I'm going to reach for my phone. Just let them know, I hate to say it, but narrate your movements if you need to move. Like, hey, you got your license? Yes, my center console. May I grab it? Yeah, sure, go ahead. And then, let them know you're going to the console for that. Because a lot of times, again, we don't know who we're stopping at the time. We don't know if you're, you just got done robbing the bank or you just got done dropping the kids off. So that's what I'm saying. Just, have a decent attitude. Don't be trying to, don't be aggressively angry. Like, all the sucking your teeth, blowing, oh God, why is he pulling me over? All that. The traffic stop will go a lot smoother and get done a lot faster if you just, come with the same pleasant attitude that officer came at you with. If they came at you negative, notate it, or yourself, okay, he kind of came off as a prick, whatever, move on. Get through it, and if you feel like you need to make a complaint, do what you got to do, and then that officer will get dealt with accordingly. You have to trust the system. You have to trust the process. Let me say that.
And it's hard to say. Like I get what you're saying, and I honestly I do agree that you should think the best. I mean, I know what we see, but on TV, but I know it's hard to tell somebody to think the best when.
It's hard, I know.
When, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it home off of this traffic stop. Like, yeah. And so, everybody, has this notion now. But I do want to switch gears just a second.
Before we switch,
okay,
if I can make a recommendation, I know, I'm a movie buff. I'm not plugging. I'm not getting paid for this. But a good movie to watch, take, people listening, do your homework on it. I would say just watch the movie, The Hate U Give. Watch that. That's what it is. Yeah. That was a good movie. I think that touched on a lot of things. I watched the movie, and the outcome, I didn't agree with the litigation of the movie, but you'll see it. You'll watch it. You'll see everything I'm talking about. And Common's character, he plays a really positive police officer in the movie. So just something for the listeners to pick up and watch one day.
Okay. Can I ask, why did that movie necessarily resonate with you, or what is it that you think that citizens can get from that movie that you think is a good
lesson?
There we go.
Well, in that movie, Common's character plays a black police officer, and there's a moment in the movie where the lead female character asks Common's character, why did that cop, do what he did? And then Common's character has to, explain, well, police officers are still human, there's all these factors that come into place. Was he speeding? Was he drinking? This, that, fifth, all these questions gets asked, and Common kind of really breaks it down on a, more understandable level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, coming into a situation as a police officer, you have no information other than what dispatch gave you. If it's a call and if it's a traffic stop, you have no information. So, it's just a lot of factors that, lead up to a situation. And then just as far as, the initial part of the movie is young black male gets pulled over with his friend in the car, and he's doing a lot of reaching in the car and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it looks bad to the officer, and the officer, he used force. I don't want to give away the movie. I'm pretty much am already, but he uses force. Me personally, looking at the movie, I think we all can agree that we didn't think it was a justified use of force. And the movie transpires from that. But it's a good...
But you're saying that dialogue between the main female character and Common,
Mm-hmm.
that's a dialogue that you thought should, like, the way they amplify that in the movie was something that you resonated with.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of my questions that I have here is there something a guardian can do about child bullying in school? Because bullying is oh my gosh, that's also been all over the news, and kids committing suicide, and even about the one I can think about most is a young girl that got in a fight at school, and I don't know if she hit her head or something like that, but she got in a fight at school and she died. Like, they were fighting. So yeah, my question is there something a guardian or parent can do about a child being bullied in schools? Is that something is that part like attached to you guys' agenda, or is that not really you're overstepping your grounds?
We had units for that. We had officers in the schools. That changed now. So now we have officers. We still have officers in the school, but they're not from, our department. They created another agency to do police officers in the schools. Mm-hmm. So they go to school, and this police at every school pretty much now. And they're there for like the violence in the school, like kids getting in fights.
Right.
They're there for that kind of stuff. Now, as far as
be bullying.
Yeah. Well, as far as bullying, like she called me fat. They said I was ugly. Just like the verbal and the social media kind of bullying. Right. I hate to say it, but I haven't seen yet how they handle it, other than the school that do the zero tolerance, so they find you bullying, and they kick you out of school. There's that, but
so they're basically there for the physical, violence.
So once,
is
it once the bullying has already happened, not the prevention of it, right?
Well, they'll say they're there for the physical aspect. So if these kids are fighting about whatever they're fighting about, they handle that. But as far as like bullying, that's going to be more on the administrative side of what the school wants to do, like the principal, vice principal, counselor, teacher, or whoever is involved. They handle like, oh, we found you bullying, you got detention, or you got that, that kind of thing. That's how they handle it in the schools. Now, I have seen stuff where it spills out onto the streets where the kids are walking home or get off the bus and they get into a fight. And if that happens, it stems from the school, so they get turned over back to the school police. So the school police will come out to the scene where we're at on, or the parents decide, tomorrow we'll go talk to the school principal, and they'll dictate how they want to handle it from there. But I haven't really seen too much legally done about, bullying from school-related items, because, we don't have... Exactly.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I was just curious, because I know, like, there's been a lot of just suicides and school bullying and things like that, and it's always deep. It follows you. I heard someone say, like, back in my day, everybody got bullied, which I think that's true. Even if you were popular, and that's air quotes, you think you're this, you think you're that. But I feel like, it didn't really travel home necessarily. Like now, social media, and not only social media, but computers and internet, they're video recording like the fights and then posting it on different media platforms.
I feel that. I just think a lot of kids these days, they just, every little thing that happens affects them. And it's like, I don't know if you're not being built up enough at home from your parents or your family. Like, some things, granted, some things are, the kids take things a little far because they're kids. But a lot of things didn't, I'm just looking at for me and some of my friends, like, nobody really, like, somebody said something about us every other day at school. It's just, that's the normal. That's just kids. I hate to say it's just.
But do you see, but too, you come up from a different era where when you got home, you may have a computer, but it's not like there's people are sitting there bullying you, bullying. And I definitely agree with you. It's your parents. It starts at home. It's your parents. It's the parents' responsibility to make sure that you, just to say it, building a tougher kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember earlier on, like, I was in kindergarten. My mom was like, look, everybody's not gonna like you. And I was like, okay. But it's a rude thing. It's a weird thing to tell a kid, but at the same time, it needs to be said. And then to build that self-confidence when the child is small, so that when they get around other people, they're not looking for validation. But I feel like when you're always getting badgered, you're always getting bullied, it's like, I don't have no recourse and no relief. And the only thing I'm thinking is like, I guess let me, what can I do? And I was just wondering, is there something that can be done with the, with police officers?
Well, I know me, I've had a lot of calls where, the kids are having problems with the parents. And I found that there's a lot of parents who just are holding on to the old school method of parenting. And they kind of don't realize that they're tearing their kids down even further, even at home. So it's like, I've had a situation where I went to a call and the daughter tears up the house when she flips out. She's, bipolar schizophrenia. And she tears up the house because her grandmother had said something that belittled her. And at this time, the social workers are there, like DFAC, they're there already. So they're having disagreements, and the caseworkers are like, "All right, everybody, calm down." And we get to a calm place, and then the granddaughter says something that the grandmother doesn't like, and the grandmother said, "That's why nobody wants you in the first place." I'm like, you can't tell a 13-year-old that. Like, that's why we here. That's why she broke your TV. That's why your books are all over the place, because you tearing her down. Like,
she also can't need to know she can't be over there going crazy.
I mean, yeah, but she needs to be on meds. Does she have the medicine? No. Does she have somebody that she can talk to other than you? Because you sound like you
tired.
You get down. It's like
gave up.
Yeah. So it's like I said before. It's parenting. I think a lot of parents, they need a refresher. Like, a lot of people are parents that weren't supposed to be parents. Like, they were parents too soon.
Tell the truth.
So they just,
kids raising kids.
Exactly.
At that point.
So that's that. And then the parents, because they didn't want the kids, they, they're abandoned, and they're left with grandma who was like, I'm already old. I can't take that care of no kids, and I got 30 of them. So it's a vicious cycle that I think we as a community need to get together, like, not just police, not just fire, not just anything. I think everybody just needs. That's why I said it just takes a special kind of officer when you come on scene to not rush to go to, this child needs to go to jail because she damaged the whole house. It's like, nah, there's something more to that. I don't think she damaged the house because she's just a bad child or he's just a bad child. I think she did it because she was triggered or something at home is not going the way it should be going.
Right.
And that's when you have to be, a cloth above just a beat officer or 911 call, officer, and just, really read the situation and make that decision. Like, she probably needs to just go with the counselor so she can get some, some more help. Or she needs to go with, the hospital provider to get some medication.
Yeah.
And then, then we go from there rather than just, they messed up everything or they're flipping out or they're coming at them with violence. We need to take them to jail or juvenile detention. It's like, nah, I think we need to go another way. So you just have to know what you got. You have to be able to be open to learning on what you have on the call before you make decisions.
Now, I will say this. I know, just me personally, I do tend to hold police officers or, people like that to a higher level simply because you all do have that authority to kind of come in and shut the scene down, pretty much. So I do expect a lot of police officers when they come to those kind of situations to be like, okay, everybody stop moving. And for y'all to be the more level-headed person in the situation. Because grandma's on 10, you got Sharkeisha on 16, to where, they tear stuff up. And I feel like because you have that authority, like, basically, I can take everybody to jail and think about it later on. So I do hold, a lot of police officers to a high level of citizen or person or whatever, just so they come in and be a little more level-headed as far as assessing the situation, calming everybody down. And I think that's what a lot of conflict, that's why we kind of ask about training a lot, is because I think, you all see this every single day, like time and time again. So after a while, it's kind of like you kind of, like you said, you get the same calls to certain houses. So you know these people.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, like, hey, they at it again. It's them two again. All right, I'll take over. But I think that's where when a cop comes on scene to the same situation, he shouldn't be on 10, especially if he knows, you know.
No. And with that, the officer still, even though you know these people, you still can't come in like, oh, it's just the usual thing it always is, because today could be something different. Today
right, and I agree with that. I do agree with that.
You know, it could be the same people, but today it's like, you know, Sharkeisha and Grandma Nori, they got fed up with each other. Grandma Nori got a butcher's knife, and Sharkeisha got a gun now. It's like, hold on, y'all didn't have it yesterday. What changed? You know, so
it's
you gotta
escalated.
Yeah, you gotta, you know, come into it. You can't be complacent. That's what it comes down to. But there's been a lot of times where everybody's on 10, and that's fine. But I want to say this for the podcast as well. I want to help people understand there's a difference between detaining somebody and arresting somebody. So in this case where everybody's on 10, 12, 25, and nobody wants to calm down, that's when the bracelet's got to come out. Okay, so I'm going to detain everybody, because for some reason, when you put cuffs on people, most time they calm down again. It's like, now I'm calm. I'll listen. What you got to say? So...
Can't move.
Yeah,
you know why? Probably because your hands behind your back or your hands are to do, and then you're like, okay, am I going to jail now? Like, so now you're starting the process. Like, okay,
exactly.
Maybe so that's probably.
So
wrong.
everybody starts to listen and think, okay, I am tripping. Let me just calm down. Let's see what you got to say. Once we dispel what's going on, it's like, okay, y'all are just having a verbal dispute. She burnt your biscuits, whatever the case may be, ate the last orange, whatever. So now we figured it out. Okay, cool. We're all calm. All right, great. We're calm. Now we can leave. I can take you back out the cuffs. Jack can go your separate ways. You can go in there and get on your iPhone, and Grandma can go back to watching Maury. Whatever. You know, it's just, you know, everybody, you have to, if y'all are on 10, I understand the emotions are high. I'm not going to hold that against you. You know, this is y'all's family. I don't know how y'all react every day or not, but I'm not going to be like, oh, y'all shouldn't be talking to each other like that. If that's how y'all communicate, that's how y'all communicate. As long as it doesn't end in violence and the cops get called, do what y'all got to do. But, you know, as an officer on the scene, I'm not going to say we have to control the scene, but we have to be able to diffuse whatever the situation is in a timely manner. Like, I'm not going to be there for 5 hours talking to y'all back. Like, I'm not going to be like a grief counselor. I'm going to listen to what you got to say.
I'm not nobody's therapist.
Yeah. You know, but that's one of the hats we got to wear sometimes. We have to actually just listen. Some people just need to talk. If they just get their story out and get the way they feel off their chest, that makes them feel a million times better. Because that's another problem. That's another problem in the world right now. Is some people don't have anybody to talk to. So they call 911 thinking they have a problem, and they talk to an officer. The problem kind of, you know, doesn't really seem as bad once they get it off their chest, once they download it. So, you know, I don't have a problem with that. It happens a lot of times too. But like I said, we have to have, you know, some sort of control over the scene where people are actively listening, actively talking, and then we can diffuse whatever the issue is, rather than just y'all yelling for 15 minutes and I'm just sitting there tapping my feet like, are y'all done yet? Can I talk? It's my turn. You know, we can't be, you know, sitting in the corner telling, I'm just here with the gun in case things get out of control. But, you know.
just get my feelings right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. One question. How do you feel about the police and civilian climate now? Like, since you've been an officer, has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse with all the mean things going in the media? Like, over the years, has it gotten better or worse?
When I first came on, it was really, really good. It was great. I'm going to drop a name. And then Mike Brown happened. And then it got bad really, really fast. Wow. And it stayed bad really, really long, it feels like. I don't think it's really gotten that much better up until the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, somewhere in there. And it was like, okay, we're having less incidents now, so things are kind of calming back down. But then something will pop up in the news that's really, really big and really, really heavy. And then we're back on high alert and back on, you know, being cautious. Like, I think when the Dallas police shooting happened, we went from just being able to, you know, drive around by ourselves and, okay, now I got to ride 2 man. Now I got to ride 2 man.
Not to interrupt you, but the Dallas shooting, can you explain what you
Oh, the Dallas shooting. I believe it was Dallas. Where there was a shooting that happened and a bunch of officers got shot in the process. Yeah, so a lot of officers were shot. It was on the news. It was late at night when I got the news, and it was actively going on until the morning, where I think they were like trying to find the active shooter, and they finally found him, and he was
so
killed.
They put everybody on alert then when that situation went down.
Yeah, when something big happens in the news, then we got to be on 10, and we got to be able to be ready for what's going on, because we you know, a lot of jurisdictions think, oh, if it's happening there, it might be something that's planned that can happen anywhere. Like, people are getting together to,
to retaliate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just gotta stay on your toes.
And so, in your opinion, how can we improve our relationship with law enforcement? How can law enforcement improve their relationship with the community? Like, what steps can be taken on both sides? What do you think?
So, again, this is just my opinion. I think you have a situation where, the economy is getting a little bit better. It was a downfall where just people were just looking for a job. So they just was like, hey, I want to be a job that pays well. And police officers pay more than I'm making now, so I'll join this job. They get the job. They're not at the job for the reason of being a through and through police officer, where it's not just lock people up and give them tickets all day. It's actually, like I said, you wear different hats. Sometimes you gotta be an ambulance, you gotta be an EMT, you gotta be a counselor, you gotta be a grief counselor, you gotta hear somebody's stories, you gotta hear somebody's problems. You may have to babysit a kid here too every once in a while. There's a lot of things that happen in the job, but if you're just so focused on, I only got 8 hours, I only got a 12-hour shift, after 12 hours, I don't care no more, then I'm not saying that's the problem, but that's one of the issues that, could cause a severed tie with the relationship. It's like, with the relationship with the community, it's like, if you're not willing to give a little bit more on the job, then you're not going to really be able to form a tie with the community. Like, we can go to a gas station and I know the person's working behind the counter, or, I can go to a house like, hey, Miss Gregg, I see you again. Hope you're doing okay. Getting to know the community. You have to get to know who you're working with. You have to get to know the community that you live in to serve it best.
Some kind of passion for it. Just don't come and say, I want to clock in, clock out.
Exactly. I think we got a lot of officers like that, unfortunately. And I think I kind of hold that same, like anything like a nurse or a doctor. You gotta have it. Yeah, you gotta allow that. You can't like
service field.
Exactly. You in that kind of field where you're gonna have to, like you said, wear a bunch of different hats a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to put that solely on it's the officers that need to build a relationship. On the flip side of that,
that's what I want. I want to hear. What do you think the people can do to build a better relationship in the community with police officers?
Yeah, there's a lot of programs, there's a lot of community-oriented things that go on that a lot of people just don't know about it because, it takes time to actually research it to know about it. I know my chain of command, they have several meetings a week with various communities in the neighborhood that they speak to. Like, they got the north side of the area, the right, they have, the cities have names, and I don't want to say the cities, but every micro city in the city or whatever,
so you're saying that citizens...
They have, meetings.
So I think you're saying that to be informed, to be an informed citizen will help with some things that you have, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you're saying. Like, okay, you getting pulled over. Well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And I know that I'm just trying to make it back home. I'm not trying to be combative, even if I have an officer just, have a shitty attitude. Mm-hmm. My thing is, let me do what I got to do, get the officer information, like you said before, report the officer if you have to, but just just take the steps that you have to do. If there's something going on in your neighborhood, whether it's violence, whether it's, teens, vandalism, things like that, go to these neighborhood meetings so that you can find out what you can do, get to know an officer, get to know a chief, of police, and get to know these people in your community and hold them accountable and meet and greet them and say, hey, this is what's going on in our neighborhood. Have that conversation because the open dialogue will get you.
Yeah, I get that request all the time. Like, oh, you didn't hear about the shooting around the corner? Like, the shooting? What do you mean the shooting? Like, yeah, there was some kids shooting. And, a lot of times they just make it seem a lot worse than it really is. Like, somebody got shot, but really it was just somebody was shooting in the area. I'm not trying to downplay it, but a lot of times the people come to me like, hey, something happened. Did you hear about it? I'm like, nah. So then I talk to them about it, get some more information, get their name. Like, okay, that happened. Let me follow up, see if I can do some follow-up on it. And then, build that relationship right there. Like, that's one person you just got to talk to. Like, hey, how you doing today? Oh, yeah, I'm good today. I talked to this person. I talked to the chief, and he said this. I talked to the major. He said that. I talked to the deputy chief, and he said that. I talked to the sheriff. He said this. You talking to all these people. That's cool. That's great. And then, now it's like a back and forth. It's like, now I know that he's plugged in high up. He knows a lot of the ways to have the community, involved in the police department. Where it's like, they have meetings, neighborhood meetings all the time, just to talk to the neighborhood watch people, or concerned citizens can voice their concerns. A lot of times people can call the precincts and say, hey, I need a officer to just patrol my area. I'm having an event. There's gonna be a lot of cars parked in the area. You just want to, see an officer come through around.
Okay.
You can do that. There's ride-alongs, of course. That's the easiest way, honestly.
Yeah.
Get a taste to see what we do every day. I had somebody do a ride-along, and he saw a lot.
Right.
And one day he was really shocked, like, "There's only 10 of y'all at work today?" Like, yeah, that's it. That's all we got. We're short. And then,
so
is
just
that
to
guy
say,
really dead? Yeah, he's dead.
So I get the part the communication will help, and so I get that. But just to give like adverse reaction to that, what about the communities that you have where the slogan, snitches get stitches?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to say anything, or you get older people, or just not even older people, just people like, oh, I don't want to. I know Mike and Lisa over there fighting again. I ain't gonna call the cops, and you hear her like, help, and then you get the situation where people like, I'm just gonna mind my own business. How do you combat those kind of things where there's a culture of, I just want to stay out of it. I don't want to be easy. I don't want to do nothing. Or, well, man, I ain't no snitch, man. That's their problem. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
So I really thought that was a true sentiment. I thought people really was like, they won't snitch once we get there. But if something's going on, they will call, hey, somebody's getting the brakes beat off from next door. You need to get out of here. And it'll be an anonymous call. So we'll still get the call and go check it out. But, we get a lot of anonymous calls. We get a lot of people who, and then once we get on scene and start talking to people,
right,
and we handle this situation, especially, in the apartment complex, there's a lot of kids, a lot of families.
Right.
It'll be somebody that we worked with previously, and they'll say something like, back out here again. And then that opens the door for us to start talking and build a dialogue.
Gotcha.
So it's just, like, that's what I do a lot of times. If I have the time, I say a lot of small stuff in passing, like, hey, hope you're having a good day, or, it's crazy hot out here. Just say something to,
ease
people
the tension.
Get people to already know, oh, he's friendly, he's cool, let me talk to him.
Right.
So there's a lot of, like, I had, it was a joke. Let me make this disclaimer right now. It was a joke. I pulled up at a gas station, and this guy, he got out his car, he was on the phone, and I just saw him, he was already in a good mood, so like, hey, man, you got your gun, you ready? Like, yeah, what we gonna do? We're gonna rob the gas station. Okay, cool. So he was going in there, I'm gonna go left, you go right. All right, cool. So he was playing around. It was a joke. Just something just to, bring a laugh. Yeah. So he's on the phone with his girlfriend. Yeah, me and the cop are going to rob the gas station.
She like, baby, no. It's a trap.
Oh, yeah. But, we just was, playing around. That's my thing. I think a lot of the easiest way, I'm not going to say it works for everybody that way, but a lot of times laughter, comedy is a good segue to just open up dialogue with anybody.
Right.
Unless somebody's having a horrible day, you can read that, maybe go another way or just not say anything at all to that person that day. But like I said, a lot of people come up to me even and just with small talk or jokes. Like, but the one I hate, I'm going to be honest with you, I hate that, oh, don't arrest me, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I hate that. God, I hate that. It's like, oh, it's not me. I didn't do it. Ah! Like, don't shoot. Guns. It's like, oh, God. Yeah, okay.
Like, are you air shooting me?
No, I'm not looking for you. No. I just came to get some water.
Wow. All right, so let me hit you with another heavy one for a second here. What's the worst thing you've seen so far, and how's it affected you?
Wow.
Well then,
yeah. Like taking the dark turn.
Okay.
The joke's over.
Let me just take away the dates. But it was a major holiday. This is by far the worst call I've had so far. It was a major holiday, and all the kids were outside playing. The parents were outside, barbecuing, cooking, what have you. And there were some kids that were still staying inside playing video games. That's fine. So let's just say apartment A. Apartment A, there was about 3 or 4 kids playing video games, taking turn playing the video games. Mm-hmm. One of the kids leaves apartment A and wanders into apartment B. Apartment B was vacant. There was nobody living there. It was under construction because it had just got burnt down, so there was nobody that was living in there. There was no property in there. It was just empty. Mm-hmm. They was renovating it. The kid is playing in that apartment by himself. He finds a gun. Mm-hmm. So the kid, he's doing everything that he, seen people do with guns in the past. I guess I don't know if it's his family or music videos or movies, what he was simulating.
Right.
But he brought the gun back to apartment A where the kids were playing video games. There's a kid playing the video game with the controller in his hand. The kid's, manipulating the trigger, sliding it back a bunch of times, cocking it back. He puts the gun to the kid's head that's playing the video game and pulls the trigger. A bullet fires. The kid playing the video game just got shot in the head. As officers, we get person shot calls a lot. So, we're thinking, okay. Then when you hear the remarks after they dispatch the call, it's like, I'm sorry, who got shot and how old is this person? Where did he get shot at? Okay, this is serious. So we're flying there, we get there. It's like me and 3 other officers there first. We get the scene, we see a kid laying on the ground. Paramedics come in, they pick the kid. Usually the protocol is you gotta get the stretcher, load the person on the stretcher, and then do all that. It was such a tense situation. The ambulance driver got out the ambulance, grabbed the kid in his arms, ran back up the steps, and just ran out the door with the kid. Put him in the back of the ambulance. We shut down the highways leading to the hospital so there'd be no traffic. And we got the kids to the hospital, but he ended up still succumbing to his injuries. So that was sad in itself. I remember on the scene, I had a coworker who has some kids, and that it hit him hard. He was on the scene, he said, "I need a minute, man. I just need to go to the back room." He was in the apartment where the kid was shot, and he just had to go to the back room and cry it out real quick. At the time, I was a little hurt by it, and everybody could see, everybody was hurt.
Yeah.
Some of us had to go to, police provided counseling to, get over the situation. But I think, like I said, that was the worst one, but there's been several similar to that. But that was the worst one.
So just to kind of tail off of Cordero question, how do you guys decompress? Like, you can have a badge on, you can have armor and all this stuff, but mentally, how do you guys? I mean, I know you guys are supposed, like you said, you talk to a therapist that they have for you guys, but that's just really like a hard situation to have that all the time and be intense. You have to be. Just seeing something like that so traumatic and being a human, it can affect you. So what are some things that, you personally do to kind of relieve some of that stress?
Well, the biggest thing I do is just take time off from work. Like, I can't even lie. I got to go. Yeah, I just took, just take a day, take an extra day. Like, you have your weekends, but you just take a day off. Go out, socialize with people. Yeah. You don't want to be alone too much. That's the main thing. Like, once you get off work, have a moment to be alone, to decompress. Like, okay, this is what I saw today, this is what I went through today. It's over now. Just some self-reflection time, I guess. And then once you do that, you got to get around people to kind of get those images and thoughts out of your head. If it's something serious and you can't combat it yourself, or you're something that's lingering, you have to be strong enough to know you need to go talk to somebody.
Right.
You got to talk to either, the counselor that's provided at work, a friend or family member. You can book your own counselor outside of work. It doesn't have to be through the work, but, you just have to know when you've had enough that week or that day or whatever it is. And when, the job, we have supervisors. Every job has supervisors. We have supervisors too. So we can tell the supervisor, hey, listen, I just saw something really traumatic. I need a minute. I need a break. They'll give you that break. Especially with something like that, because they're not going to send an emotionally unstable officer back that they know is unstable back on the street. So either, that comes in, I need a day or two, I need 3 days, whatever the case may be, they'll work with you. Or, I need a leave of absence, you got to take a leave of absence, whatever the case may be, they'll work with you, because again, you don't want somebody with a gun on the streets who's telling you, I'm mentally unstable right now. Yeah. So that's a liability on whatever department that officer's in. If they say, no, we're short, you got to go out there. Like, okay. So, yeah, so there's steps to, get there. Because every month, I think we accrue some time to take off from work, like some mental days or personal days, whatever. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's ways.
Do you have any thoughts on what men should do if they're not able to see their child and they're trying to be active in their child's life? I know most times that's a court, there's like legal things around that, but you do meet some men that are trying to, be active, and so maybe you get there and you're getting a call and it's like, I can't see my child. Is that something that they should just take up with the courts? That's not something you guys would come out for?
Yeah, I'm well versed in that actually right now. So in that situation, I've seen it plenty of times where people think, oh, I signed a birth certificate, I'm that child's father, I should be able to do what I want. And it's like, are y'all married? No? Then that is not how it works. Just because you signed a birth certificate, just because you was at the hospital, that means nothing in the eyes of the law. So if you have a girl y'all have a kid together, and she says, oh, whatever reason y'all aren't together anymore, you want to give the kid, if she wants to give the kid to you, and you want to take your son or your daughter home, if you don't have him legitimized, she can call you. All right.
Can you explain legitimized?
I will. Yeah. So legitimization is where you actually go down to the courts and sign a piece of paper saying that you are taking responsibility for this child as the father. Like, this is my child. I want my rights to my child. It gives you rights to your child.
Okay.
So therefore, a parenting plan can be made. Visitation can be put in place. So therefore, you can have a say in your child's life.
Right.
So like I just said, like if the woman wants to give the child to the father to have it for a while, for like a weekend, and then she finds out you got somebody else, and she's like, oh, I want my child back. If you're not legitimized, you have to give the child back.
So even if the father signed a birth certificate, he's not legitimized?
Nope.
So he has to go down to the courthouse and get legitimized.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So a lot of people are like, I signed the birth certificate. That's my signature right there. Yeah, but y'all aren't married. If the child was had within the sanctity of a marriage, you're covered. You don't have to worry about getting the child
So
legitimized.
you hear that? Me know.
Yeah, marriage legitimizes you as the father.
Right, got you.
Yeah, so
Go to the courthouse.
yeah,
Get the rights.
yeah. As soon as y'all get home from the hospital, all right, go ahead and file this paperwork saying I'm the
Pulling that-
child's
I
father.
want y'all to get married first. Where's the whole nother?
Pulling that bull.
Yeah, so there's been plenty of times where guys like, yeah, my ex is inside. She has my son, and I just want to see my son. Well, you got the child. Is the child legitimized? Nah. Well, I can't do nothing about it.
I don't think most people even know that.
Nobody does.
No,
a lot of people don't.
I didn't. I didn't. That's like,
I've ran across that plenty of times. I had a situation where it was a less than fit mother who left her child with the child's father, and he had his whole family: mom, dad, aunties, uncles, cousins, brothers, all living in one house. It was pretty. They was taking care of the child. They had clothes, food. The roof over their head. Everything. It was all laid out nice.
Mm-hmm.
But because he didn't get the child legitimized, the mom was like, "Hey, I want my child. I want him right now." Sir, I hate to say this, but he got to go. The child got to go with her. He's like, "But I've had the child since we got back from the hospital. This is my child." The child was 1 year old. So a whole year went by, and the mom came and went 2 or 3 times out the year. But because the state law says the rightful place of the child is with the mother, unless otherwise documented by the courts. That's what it is.
Because they had nothing in place. Did he even sign the birth certificate?
He signed the birth certificate.
So that really meant that. So he would have had. So now he has to go get the child.
What's the purpose of the birth certificate then?
Child support. I don't know. Like I'm
At the
wondering.
end of the day, that's all it's good for.
Yeah.
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I guess
So-
just to have it on paper that you're saying.
With this legitimization,
Mhm.
do both parents have to go down there and get the child? Or can
No.
as me as the father, can I go like, hey, this
Okay.
is my child?
What document? If you know,
Mhm.
what documentation? Could you? I mean, yeah. Because like, who would just go down and like, yeah. I mean,
I'm Pappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, how does that? Can you explain that?
How does that process work?
Yeah.
If you just know the child's name, date of birth, the address where they're staying, who their mom is, of course you're going to know the mom. Just have that information, go down to the court, like, hey, I just want to apply to get my child legitimized. They're going to give you a form to fill out. You fill out the form, submit it. It goes to the child, the family courts, and they, sign off on everything, approve everything. And if they need more information, they're going to come and ask you, like, hey, we need something documenting that you're the child's father. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to want a DNA test if you haven't already had that done.
Okay.
That's why I know a lot of women are going to be mad at me. I wish every man, no matter how long you and your girl been together, how good y'all are, ask her for a DNA test. I know she's going to look at you like, oh, you don't trust me? I know.
Nope.
You're not saying this. Are you saying this for married people too? You saying when you say everybody, you mean everybody?
No, I mean every single person. If
Okay.
y'all aren't married.
You single?
Because
Yeah,
once you're married, it doesn't matter if she stepped out on you or not. That's your child. Until
Wait, come again?
if you're married, let's say your wife steps out
Right,
on you.
and if the child is
Somebody else's. It's
right.
still yours because it was a child that had it within the marriage.
Dun 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 dun.
I can't with this. I can't deal with this.
You gotta make
I
sure you
can't
come
do-
back. This is like
So what? If, okay, let's put a pin in that. I got something to say.
So go ahead.
Let's say she steps out on you. Y'all two married. She steps out on you. She has the baby with somebody else. You get a DNA test saying that it's not yours. What we at now? What we at now? Because I'm gonna have a problem.
You have to.
Somebody go to jail.
you.
Either me, her, or the child. Somebody go to jail.
It's gonna dictate on the father. Now, don't quote me because I don't know 100% of family laws like that. But what I've seen is usually the male files for divorce, and at that point you can like, hey, I want to relinquish my rights of as the parental unit for this child because I'm not the father. You got the DNA test to prove it. Usually that suffices in family court. But the situation is they really want you to have another male, the biological father, to put on record as the child's father. They don't like to leave a child fatherless. Because the child's always going to have a mother unless the mother, dies or, just runs away or something like that. But they want both parents on the child's record. So if you're saying, hey, I don't want to be there anymore, it's best to have that biological father, sub you out, basically.
Okay.
So if he's not there.
I think I know who our next guest is going to be, or they're going to be relevant to.
So a lot of times, if you don't have that child to sub out, a lot of courts, I hate to say it, a lot of courts, they don't grant that because they don't want to leave a child fatherless. Like on paper, he's got a mom and a dad. You tell us you want us to take away the dad? Like, they look at that like we don't want to leave the child fatherless because they got a father right now.
I get that, and I'm all for you know, anybody know me know I'm so girl power and women and all that, but I'm just like, if you stepped out and this is not the biological father, and he doesn't want to, and he's getting separated, like he's saying, I'm out, this is just not what I signed up for. That blows my mind. I'm just like, ooh.
Like I said,
that blows my mind.
It goes down to family court, what kind of lawyer you got, what they can say. Because I've seen a lot of times where they remove we have to keep you as a father until the biological father wants to come up.
Okay, I know because is the mother responsible for finding the man that's supposed to be the child father? Like she got something, like they're holding her responsible, right? Are they? I'm just wondering. Like, okay, then if you're telling me the courts cannot, okay, we're gonna remove the child. Okay, I get that. They're saying that the courts are saying we don't want to leave the child fatherless. So are they making the mother go find who she was sleeping with and say, hey, this is what we? So now this man is just on here.
He's just stuck.
Wow.
Just stuck.
I gotta do some research.
No, like I said, if you got a good enough lawyer, and especially if you're getting a divorce,
that's skeezer.
I've seen a lot of lawyers do it where they're still on
paper. Did this happen to you? You for the kind of
Jesus Christ.
You like you don't foreshadow now. That skeezer the Demi Rogue. Okay.
Nah, I've seen a lot of situations where the court's like, we can't move you as a father. What we will do is they won't apply child support on that man, the ex-husband, because they realize that he's not the biological father. Now, there's been a couple cases in the news where the judge was like, oh, you still got to pay child support for this kid, whatever the case may be. And that was messed up. It was messed up. It happens. It does happen.
I'm like, no, come on, Shirley. We got to go find out who you was messing with.
Exactly. I'm like, Officer Dan, listen, bring your cuffs. I'm going to jail the next 5 minutes. Just come on now. Just stop what you're doing. Just come on, pick me up. I committed a crime. No, it's going down.
It's in progress.
It's in progress right now.
So, but yeah, then I've seen a lot of situations where the man wants to step up and do the right thing, but the mother's like running and hiding, like, I don't want you in the child's life. However, I do want child support.
But when that happens, isn't it true? Well, I'm asking, is it true that, okay, so they've already established that he's the father. I don't know if they got it legitimized, but he's the father. And so the mother is like, okay, I got this job and I'm leaving. She can't just leave. If they have like an order though, you know how like Michael gets his child every second weekend.
Like a parental.
Yeah. The mother can't just leave.
If the child's legitimized, no. She has to kind of get the okay from the dad.
To leave another state?
Okay. Yeah, that's what gives you rights to the child. So you kind of have a say on where the kid goes to school at, where they worship, and the primary care, like all that kind of stuff. You have rights to make those decisions with the mother. She can't make a decision that big by herself. If she wants to go on vacation, she has to let you know, oh, we're going to the Dominican Republic for a week. She has to let you know that, because if she doesn't, that's interfering with child custody. Because if you have a family plan and the vacation overlaps on the time that you're supposed to have the child, that cuts into your time with the child. So then, you can go down there and file interfering with custody because you're supposed to have custody of the child on that time. So, yeah.
So, key takeaway basically is, if you do have a child, get the child. Make sure if you're not married,
if you're single,
go get the child legitimized. And then just go through the proper paperwork that way.
Yeah.
And know who you're dealing with. Because I'm sure people out here like, well, they ain't did none of that, but their system works well. They probably got it where, like maybe he signed a birth certificate or whatever. Maybe he didn't. But the mother has understanding, like he's gonna get him like clockwork. He, you know, he's responsible. He come get the kid. But I was just speaking on. I know, you know, sometimes there are issues where maybe they, you know, they done fell out, the mother and the father, and now it's like, okay, what as a guy, what should I do to, you know,
see your child?
Yeah.
Legitimization.
Yeah, that's the number one step. Get them legitimized, and then once you do that, they're gonna call you both in the court, and they're gonna ask y'all to put together a parenting plan. What that means is they're gonna ask y'all first, can y'all put together a parenting plan? If y'all have some problems, discrepancies, y'all can't agree on things, that's when the courts step in and they make a parenting plan. And we should just know by now, anytime you're in that situation, they give you the choice, and y'all can't decide, and they make it for you, it's going to be a choice you're not going to like.
Right.
It's going to be bad for both of y'all.
Yeah.
I've heard this. I have heard this several times.
Yeah.
That if you don't handle it was said that if you don't handle the business, the courts will. You're not. Neither party's going to like what comes down, because when they sign off on it, that's it. That's law.
Yeah. You can't really modify it too much.
Yeah. But
you know, unless y'all get an understanding, and then y'all can modify down the line. But it's going to take a while. You have to live with what they got y'all in until they show until it shows progress. But yeah, it's that. And then there's a lot of times, you know, a lot of women want to put men on child support. Got no problems with that, especially if the man's not pulling his weight.
Right.
But there's a lot of men who've gamed the system. Yeah, I don't know the exact number. I want to say it's 9 or 10. If a man has a certain amount of kids, they don't enforce child support after a certain point, because it's just too many kids. It's like, how you gonna spend $1,000, you know, 10 different ways? The only person is gonna need $100 a kid. So after a certain point, they don't really weigh it anymore. They're just like, hey, he's fertile. We can't do nothing about this.
He's on the loose.
Exactly.
So, I just want to thank our first guest, Officer Dan, for coming on and enlightening us, because it's some things that I've learned that I had no idea about. Is there anything that you want to close, or anything you want to say
to the people,
to the listeners?
Well, you know, just if you have any other questions, if you have any comments, or if you have any concerns that you want to address, feel free to address Cordero, or what's your name again, Valerie? Just ask.
Put the comments down below, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and put the links down, because like I said, we are going to have another segment where we ask Officer Dan again on, and like I said, anything that you want to ask, put it in there, and so we can get those asked for you, because I want to thank the people who also sent in the questions. They have sent in some really good questions to the show, and I want to thank you guys.
And on top of that, you know, you can also just go to any precinct, or there's a lot of police departments that have social media pages where if you have a legal question or a situation you're curious about, you can go onto the social media page and post it right there. Like, hey, I had a question about this. Is this right? Is this wrong? And they'll answer it like on Facebook Messenger or in the comments of the post that you make, what have you. There's a lot of different ways. It's like there's the level of information that's out there is abundant. It's just, are you willing to find the way to get it?
Due diligence to go ahead and, you know, ask those questions, and, you know,
because people ask me, they pull me aside all the time and ask me 1,000 questions. I'm like, yeah, you can do that. No, you can't do that. You
right.
Girl, stop. They'll get you 10 to 15. You know, that kind of situation. So, you know. But yeah, you know, I enjoy spreading information that I know. Like, I don't want to just keep all to myself.
It because, you know, like I said, a lot of stuff I did not know that made me want to go and research it. Like, oh my God, I did not know this. Call my friends and, you know, family members like, did you know? So, like I said, share this podcast. And we want to thank you for listening. Cordero, you got anything you want to say?
No, I'm good.
You good? Okay, so don't forget again to follow us on our Twitter, our Instagram. We're on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and we have merchandise on Teespring. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.